happy, following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We have the tickets tops here at St Andrews. They will hear us what we're longing for.
Ladies and gents, girls and boys, it's 6:30 Monday night. Welcome to the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Borough Sports, principal sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club. And here we are. Yes, they did me proud. Yes, the boys in blue went to Stoke and did what I wanted them to do. The sound of pottery smashing all over Staffordshire, the sound of chip shop doors slamming in my ear as they start to close down for business. Birmingham City did Stoke again. My goodness me, am I an happy man living up here. I've had such a fun weekend, believe me. So we're going to introduce you to the team. The chairman of the board, Mr. Alan Watton.
Good evening, everybody. And
just one and only Chris Brown. Your microphone's off.
Only got one job.
One job. Who did he pick me up? Fixer, you got me on that one, mate. I was not quick enough for that one. The one and only Chris Brown. Oh, that's nice of you to talk to us, Chris. Great Courtney.
Good evening, everyone.
Mark Adams.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're okay.
We're absolutely proud and delighted to have in our midst today an ex-Birmingham City player, an absolute legend in our minds and memories, the one and only Mr. Jacques Magoma.
Pleasure, guys. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
How are you, buddy? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good.
Loved your style of play. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Met you in Leicester. When we played Leicester, you were sat in the stands, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. Met you there, shook your hand. I bet you remember me, don't you?
I can't remember at all. I can't remember that. But I do remember being in the stands in Leicester.
But it's crazy because as soon as somebody recognised that it was you, they were like, everybody was like giving it large, weren't they? Really funny. Great moment. So welcome to the Tilton Talk Show, Jack, and thanks for all your service to Birmingham City Football Club. Them amazing little tricks and skills and one thing and another. But Birmingham beat Stoke. I've got nothing else to talk about. Jack, you might as well go now, mate. Birmingham beat Stoke. I've not got a clue what that means to me living here. All right, okay, off you go. Analysis.
Okay, so pretty much first half, carbon copy of the Millwall game. It's quite not much in it, not a lot happened, very scrappy. And then to be honest, the general sort of feeling was that we'd be happy with the point. It was petering out for a 0-0. Stoke, I must say, were poor. But that was the sort of game we'd probably lose last season. We'd probably let in a silly goal and go on to lose 1 or 2-0. Second half, we came out much better, controlled the game, and thoroughly deserved the win. Great header by Dean, by the way, Harley Dean. I thought he was outstanding on Saturday. I know he's had his critics, and I haven't been his biggest fan at times, but he was absolutely superb. I think that's probably his best game for Blues. Yeah. It was absolutely superb.
Did you see his interview after, Mark?
Yes, I saw it for you. And
Mags, you can probably allude more so than us, but he said, didn't he, that it's been the best time. I'm Paul Hipkiss, everyone, by the way. I'll introduce myself.
Yeah. Oh, Paul.
I do. Who are you?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Having the best
really, I'm so sorry, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Hipkiss.
Evening all, Nick. I mean, it's the first show ever. I can't say evening all. Max, you can probably allude to this better than we can, but he said that it's been the best time that he's enjoyed here, and it's been a long time coming. But it feels like similar to when Gary Monk was our manager back in those times, and he's got the squad together, he's got the players and the fans close again, and just tell us a little bit about when Gary Monk was our manager and what it was like as a player.
Yeah, I think he's obviously referring probably to maybe the man management that maybe the recent manager has, John usually has, and Gary Monk, probably similar. And that's probably why I said it in my video. I said the difference a manager can make to a player, giving him confidence, playing him. He's come back. He hasn't, like, I would agree in the past he hasn't played at his best, but he came from Brentford. Playing football, we all know Brentford, the way they play, and the change of style, the way we play was almost like we play now, you know, sit in, hard to beat, and then hit them on a counter attack. So he's had a lot of adjustment to do. But like I said, like the difference, what John is doing, what the manager's doing right now, like for me, I just think it's so brilliant. But he's just gone back to basics. He's literally just gone back to basics, stripped it down. We're hard to beat, like we were saying before. We just don't look like we're going to lose any games. No. I can't see us losing any game. We might not go and score or look pretty in the final third in some game, but we just don't look like we're gonna lose.
No, exactly. No, and it's starting to feel good again, and it's been a long time coming. You know, as a fan, obviously, it's been a challenge to say the least since we got relegated in 2011 up to now. You know, and it's looking like we're heading in the right direction. Dare I say, touch wood, you know. But yeah, it's obviously 5 years with the club, wasn't it, Mag? So you joined us in, am I right in saying 2015, was it?
Yeah.
That long ago?
7 years, isn't it?
It's ages. Yeah, 2015 I joined. Gary Rowett got me in from Sheffield Wednesday. I remember the game actually. We played Birmingham and it was a draw. We played when I was playing for Sheffield Wednesday, and I was coming to the end of my contract, and I had him previously at Burton Albion, and I spoke to him after the game, and he's like, "What are you doing in summer?" And I was just like, "Well, you're getting me in, aren't you?" So, and like the conversation went like that, and he's like, "We'll speak in the summer." And came to the summer. I sent him a message. He replied, and then we got talking, and then that's when I joined.
Yeah, but take us back to the beginning of your career, Mag. So what got you into football, and where was you sort of first spotted, and talk us through how you sort of got into Tottenham's academy as a kid?
Right. This will take me back a bit. So I came into the country when I was 10 from Congo. We immigrated here to the UK, and I lived in Tottenham, 5 minutes away from White Hart Lane. That's basically how, like I said, I became a Spurs fan. That's how I fell in love with Tottenham, because I literally lived. I used to hear the chants in the stadium. I was that close, although I couldn't go to into the stadium at the time, but I could hear it. I could see the fans singing, and on good days when we win, it was just unbelievable. So started getting into football just because of seeing that. My interest grew. And then at school as well, my interest grew at school. Sports was one thing that I was naturally gifted at. So I played cricket, rugby, football, but I ended up going the football route. And at 12 years old, I got scouted. I was playing for a Sunday league team, Winchmore Hill. And I got scouted, told me to come in. I tried for 2 weeks. And I remember the coach actually was Dave Kerslake. So what I used to do is, so training was at 6:30. So I used to leave school 3:30, run home, get lunch, get dinner into a box, get to the bus stop. I used to get 4 buses in order for me to get to training for 6:30. And after 2 weeks, Dave Kerslake turned around to me and said, "We're not going to offer you anything. You're not good enough at the moment." I can still remember it like it was yesterday, tears running down my eyes.
Wow. And
the biggest mistake he did was give me his number, because all I did was ring him for like every other week. I used to just ring him. That was the biggest mistake. And he ended up having the hump. And 3 years later, at 12, after saying you're not good enough, at 14, 15, I got invited back in, and ended up signing. And after that, the rest is history, really.
Yeah. And was it still David Kerslake when you got back in after? Yeah, because I remember him. He was a right back for Tottenham when he played for Spurs.
Yeah, at 15, it was him who invited me back. He was the head coach with alongside Mickey Hazard. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
Mickey Hazard,
Mickey Hazard is probably one of my favorite youth team coach. even till now. I haven't kept in contact with him, but I would like to get in contact with him again. But he was unbelievable for my development.
Yeah.
As I got into the academy pretty late, 15 is really late to get into the academy. A lot of the kids now, they start at the age of 5, 6, and even back then it was like that. So I had a lot of catching up to do, a lot of training to do in terms of like technical ability, even my physical attributes. I was really small and skinny and scrawny a little bit. But yeah, you know, like it was really good. At the same time, it was tough coming through the academy. It wasn't easy at all. So, like I said, like now, my story, I try to tell my story to try and help young players not to think that the road is basically just like an uphill. Like you just go in, it's going to be all rosy all the way. You know, I had to be told no to then go away and come back and prove myself again. And in life in general, that's what it is. Like over and over, you're just tested. So yeah, I try to tell that part of my story with what I'm doing now. So that's a little bit of me getting into the Tottenham Academy from 12, 15.
Yeah, and who was Burton Albion's manager that signed you at the time? In 2009, wasn't it? You went to Burton.
Yeah, so yeah, 2000. Paul Piscasilido was the manager at the time.
Yes. Legend.
Yeah. He was the gaffer at the time, and the assistant was Gary Rowett. So I signed there. To be fair, at the start, me and Gary clashed a lot. we always clashed because it was like I always wanted to dribble and whatnot, and I'll hold my hand up. Like the tracking back used to get him to like have a go at me every single time, running back the other way. So and we clashed to start off with, but Paul was brilliant for me. Like he gave me my first, professional game, I would call it. So Burton Albion, Ben, the chairman, who's good for me. Like he's brilliant. 4 years I spent there. At Burton, so it's really good.
Yeah. Lily wants to know what your favourite memories were, and what was your worst moment or moments at Blues.
My favourite memory at Birmingham.
Yeah,
I've got so many. But one that really sticks out. It's always been the ones where we're fighting for. The times I was there, we're always fighting to stay up. I think more time than ever, I can remember that we were really safe, and end of the season, you're kind of just you're playing with no stress of like if you lose this game, you're getting relegated. So I remember, like I said, the Sheffield United game where we needed to win, and we got the 3 points, and I scored to make it 2-1 at home. Yeah. We played them. I could also remember Fulham away when we beat them 5-2. That was really good. That was a really good game. I remember also Derby where Clifton Bell scored on a volley at the edge of the box. That was a good day as well. So there's so many memories, so many good memories. I haven't really got any bad ones. I'll probably say the one that kind of sticks out in my head was probably the time where I came back from African Cup of Nations and Zola was in charge, and we hadn't won for about, I don't know, like 15 games or whatnot. And I wasn't in the squad. At times I wasn't involved. But I didn't have a bad relationship with him. He just favoured other players. I think that's probably one that will probably stand out the most for me. But with my time there, I hardly had any bad memories, to be honest with you.
I think his tenure stands out with us.
Sorry, Paul? Nick?
I think his tenure stands out with us.
His tenure.
Yeah, I think for me, I think at the time for you, Mags, I guess with obviously knowing Gary Rowett from Burton and obviously in bringing you into the Blues, it must have been challenging for you at that time when he was suddenly dismissed, obviously, and replaced with Zola at that time. Talk us through what it was like then as a player. Obviously, it was a big shock to us fans at the time. I'll tell you that.
It was crazy. We walked in. I walked in that morning, and I think it was after the Newcastle game, wasn't it? If I remember.
Ipswich.
Ipswich at home,
We won the night before, didn't we?
Yeah. It was Ipswich. Yeah. So walked into the canteen, and he had a meeting, and he said like, I'm off, lads. Obviously the decision's been made. And we were just sitting there and be like, surely this is banter. Like, he's obviously joking, trying to like wind us up. And then no, like that's exactly what happened. And we were just like, we couldn't believe it because we were doing so well in the league at the time. I think we were like fourth or something, or around. We're in the top half of the table. I remember that.
Yeah.
And like we just couldn't believe it as players, and especially for me, it was almost like having a manager that understood me, that I spoke to quite a lot. If I had problems at home, if certain things didn't go well, I can go to him at any time and have that conversation with him. And we would sit down, and he would listen to me. And, he was almost, I would say, someone that gave me advice as well on certain life choices and with certain things that I needed help with. So
was he like a mentor? Sorry, Max, was he like a mentor?
Yeah. Like I said, at the start at Burton, we clashed a lot, and he eventually got me to turn the corner when he took charge of Burton, or when Paul Pescasilido, decided that management wasn't for him anymore. Had a meeting with Gaz, and he made me turn the corner. He challenged me in different ways than other managers have. I'll probably say him and Gary Monk were probably two managers I would, and Paul Pescasilido. If I had to pick three, they really challenged me in different ways, but in a positive way. But yeah, like I said, he was, I could speak to him. So it was really difficult seeing him leave, especially after he brought me to the club. And I think he had great plans for the club as well. I think he was getting on a roll, and he had the players on board in what we were doing. I think the club and the fans were all behind him as well at the time. So it was just a shock for everyone, to be honest.
And then we obviously suddenly turned into Watford, didn't we? Started changing our manager every season. For quite a long period of time. And
a week, wasn't it, Paul?
we were good at it though.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Every other week, you had a new manager.
I know, man.
We had the chairman. We had the chairman as a manager at one stage. It just became
crazy.
There's a few posts knocking around about, and I don't know if you've heard this news, that Liam Dace is back at Blues as the new academy manager.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, I think, later. Yeah.
But can you allude on to that a bit more, Max? You mentioned there the chairman was the manager at one point, and obviously we've all seen the pictures of Dong in his tracksuit on the training ground.
Yeah.
Was he getting stuck? Was he himself?
I think when certain managers came in, I think it became clear who was kind of making decisions at the end. I think before, when Gary was in charge, you wouldn't see it if it weren't staff on the training pitch, you wouldn't see no one. No one was allowed. So it was just players, staff, and that's exactly how it was. But then after that, you'd eventually see, like Don coming in, chairman coming in. You see them doing kick-ups, and which we're training, they're doing kick-ups like in their shoes and that. And it was just like, it wasn't great. It wasn't pretty, but I think that's where we kind of struggled, because if the way it was set up behind closed doors didn't go with what was going on the pitch. I think as a team, we had that spirit, but because all the stuff behind it wasn't great, it just made it didn't make it as smooth as we wanted to as players. So we were always fighting with what was behind, and then trying to, perform on a Saturday, it just didn't sometimes. And that's why I think the consistency as a team, at my time there, we just didn't have that consistency. We were just like up and down every other week. We'd have maybe like 2-3 weeks where we do well, and then like 2-3 weeks where we just poor. Yeah.
Did you feel like actually turning around and saying, we've got a manager, leave us alone? Or as players, was it a case of having to kind of put up with it because you were feared for being in the squad and in the team? I mean, you mentioned about being on the training ground, but did they have a say in picking the team as well?
I think they did. I think a lot of us thought that they did have a say in who was coming in, who wasn't coming, who wasn't playing, who was starting, what 11 was going to be on, who's going to be on the bench. We definitely felt that, and it wasn't so much a fear, but it was almost like you don't make any decision. You're just out there. You get picked to go out on the pitch, and you get picked to go and perform. So, although we could challenge it and be like, we don't agree with it, it didn't matter one bit.
I think it's something we all really suspected, didn't we?
Yeah.
So,
Lisa Field wants to know, would you come back to it's a son that wants to know, would you come back to the Blues? And what advice would you give me for playing football, from Ryan, aged 11? Well done, Ryan.
Good question.
Would I come back to the Blues? 100%. I still keep in contact with, once in a while, I speak to guards, who's done really well, and he's got to position himself there. So once in a bit, I'll send him a message and he replies. So maybe in the future, I think I have a few steps. I'm doing my A license, which will be finishing next year. I'm on so many different courses towards my coaching. And I have so much to learn from the other side. So one benefit I have is that I have the career and I have the knowledge of that. And if I can blend it with what I'm learning now, hopefully that will help.
So what advice would you give to Ryan, age 11?
What advice?
Yeah.
At age 11, just enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm really curious, Mags, is that a lot of ex-players talk about taking their badges and finally becoming a coach and so forth. How difficult is it? I mean, is it mainly like coursework, field work, combination of both, or?
It's a combination of both. Like at the moment, like I said, it's learning the different languages that you can use with the younger players than when I was playing it with the senior boys. With the senior boys, like you're saying, is everything goes. Like you can say whatever you want almost. Yeah. But it's also having that constraint and also learning the other side where some players, react differently to how you speak to them. So learning that from, coaching and under 10, you might say one thing to him, he might not understand. So you got to find different ways to activate their brain. So it's just learning that. And obviously the badges, with the FA, they just teach you different things, even using tools like editing skills, something that I'd never thought that I would
really
need in my life.
Wow.
So it's just it's using Huddle, it's just using different softwares to edit, to clip. Say I'm learning about Cristiano Ronaldo, and I take a video at 90 minutes game of him, clipping his actions during the game. So it's just learning different tools. As a manager now in the modern game, you need all these tools.
Wow, we'd never have thought of that. You've just given us insight, Max. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, it's fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Craig, there's loads of complimentary comments for Mags. If you want to read a few.
There is, and Mags, I think we've got a listener in Lilypad that's got a little bit of a soft spot for you, saying you've got beautiful eyes and a wonderful smile. Please continue to stay on the show. We've also had people just commenting generally on your career whilst you were at the club. Scott Rothwell, evening and welcome to Mags. Met you once after the winning the man of the match versus QPR under the Rowett days. It was great meeting you then. The insight that you've given to people, I think it's fair to say fans had thought things were going on, but to hear it from an ex-player has also gone down well, and people are thanking you for being so honest. Then there's a couple of other areas, and just one question from Dave Twine. He said that you played, he believes, with a gentleman called Tom Lees whilst you were at Sheffield Wednesday, and he believes that he was a Blues fan. Is that true?
I don't think I ever spoke to him about him being a Blues fan, to be fair. I did play with him. He came from Leeds. I think we ended up buying him from Leeds to Sheffield Wednesday, but I don't remember having that conversation with him, to be honest.
Jack, I did a bit of research, got the old videos out about you and trying to remind myself, and I was amazed. You didn't half get some good goals. One against, I think it was Barnsley, where you ran from the halfway line, one-on-one with the keeper, slotted it home, no problem. Again at probably Swansea and Wigan, similar. Obviously, the best one I can remember was against Stoke at Christmas, and you put it past Jack Butland, which at the time that was quite an achievement. But you didn't get tap-ins, did you? I mean, another Rotherham was another one. You stole the ball on the halfway line and gone and slotted it in, and it all came flooding back to me. Yeah, that's what this guy was about. He pace and excellent finishing.
Yeah, thank you, by the way, and I do appreciate that. But one thing I do criticize myself, like if I self-reflect now, I think, like I said, as a coach now, you got to do so much self-reflecting. And if I self-reflect, if I got into the back stick a little bit more, I would have got a lot more tap-ins, as you say. And that's one thing. If I had to change, or if I wanted to improve on my game, or tell anyone who's listening, who's a winger or an attacking player, is getting those tap-ins. You might get 5 or 6, but it adds up in the season. There's always, balls coming across the box. If you get in that back stick, or if you're in and around the box, I think that's one thing that I'll be self-critical of myself in terms of, getting more goals for the club, which was, like you said, is getting those tap-ins.
Yeah.
Question for you, Jack. Here you go. You said earlier about you was delivered that news that you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
I've been told that all my life, and believe me, it's true. Do you know how to deliver that kind of news to youngsters, or is that somebody else's job?
No, it's difficult. I had to. There was a period, I think it was with the under 14s and under 14, and I witnessed a boy getting told, and I had built a bond with that boy, and him being told that just I literally, it was hard for me to even take the session, because just watching him go through that, and it was just so difficult. So like I said, there's so much going. As a player, you don't think about these things. You just get on with it.
Did you give him your phone number?
No. No, I didn't. I think if, like I said, I was lucky that Dave gave me his number. But like I say, if you go down that road, I think it would be selfish to give one person and not everything.
I love your brutal honesty, mate. I genuinely do. Really, I mean that. I genuinely mean that, mate. The words that are coming out of your mouth are, well, I have goosebumps. There you go.
It's brilliant.
Some other questions that are coming, Mags, are who's your toughest opponent that you ever played against?
It was me at Leicester.
Yeah.
Is that Domino's?
It was the bartender. No,
You saw Nick a dummy, yeah?
Yeah. No, my toughest opponent, who I always had tough battles with, was Lee Peltier.
Peltier, yeah.
Yeah, that right back. He was, and also Lehigh, when he was at Middles. No, he wasn't at Middlesbrough. Was he at Middlesbrough?
Bristol City, no?
Bristol. Yeah, I think he was at Bristol, but I remember the name. I can't remember who, because he played for different clubs as well at my time. But he was. I think those two were tough opponents. Like if I wasn't on my game, like I knew like I was just gonna get ragdolled. Like they were just so physical, strong, especially Lee Peltier at Cardiff, when they had Neil Warnock. They're playing that man marking system. He will literally follow you everywhere. He'll play right back. If I go to the other side, he will literally just follow me. It was just a tough game against him. I think he'll probably be my toughest opponent, I'd say.
We've got Anthony Hill, who's up in New Hampshire. He wants to say hi, Mags.
Hang on, is that like New Hampshire, is in like just outside Aldershot?
That's the one.
No, that's the old one, mate.
In Warrington.
Yeah. So if you can just say hello to Anthony Hill.
Hello, Anthony. How you doing, buddy?
And he says keep up the great videos. We'll talk about those later as well.
All the way from New Hampshire. Well done, mate. Well done.
Nice one.
Can I say, Max? Sorry, can I ask if you can say a special hello to your friend Little Louis? Steph and Megan said, can you give him a shout out because he'll be watching?
Yeah, Louis, how are you doing, mate? I hope you're doing well at school. You're behaving yourself. I hope you're doing all your homework and you're listening to your mum and you're staying out of trouble. And I hope you're still practicing your skills. And hopefully one day, I'm hoping to see you play for Birmingham.
Louis.
Max.
Louis.
Mags, there's been a question coming to me on text, and it's in regards to the fact that we believe your brother is playing for, is he Brentford or maybe on loan at the moment? Yeah. So the question is, you're a coach now. How have you approached that, and have you coached your brother the same as what you would do the teams that you're with at the moment?
Yeah, that is my brother. I got two younger brothers, both professional. Funny enough, we all came through the Spurs Academy. Yeah, I'm really proud of that because I know how difficult it is to just get one brother through an academy, but to get both of them who graduated, who came through starting from under sevens all the way through, really, really good. Yeah, he's at Brentford, but he's on loan at Wimbledon. And I'm probably harsher, I'm tough on both of them, more than I probably was on myself, because I know just how hard it is now for young players to have a long career, in football, because it's just getting harder and harder every year. The quality of players are much better. As you can see, even with Blues, like our players are so much better now. No disrespect in my time, but as a squad, we just got so much more in depth. The players coming off the bench are just much better. I would say I'm probably harsh on them, especially my youngest one. They tend to be a little bit more, off the cuff, but he's doing very well at Wimbledon. He's played a lot of games which he needed. He's 21 now, so he needs the game time. And like I said, he's on loan till January. So hopefully when he goes back to Brentford, it's either he'll get a chance or we'll try to get him a better loan move, in League One or Championship.
What's Mag's thoughts on Jude Bellingham?
Can I tell you a quick story on Jude? Not Jude. Did he say Jude or Joe?
Jude.
Jude.
Oh, I thought he was going to say about Job. Okay.
So anyway, tell us
We'll
anyway,
have that
Tell us that
story
one
as
then.
well.
Chris, hang on. This is a scoop. This is a scoop.
No, it's not that kind of story. It's actually, so no, Jude, when he came up into the first team, I kid you not, all of us just turned around and were like, who is this kid? He was like 16, 17. He was like, who is he? Like, what is going on here? Like, he used to run the training session single-handedly by himself. Like, he would literally get the ball from the goalkeeper and go and score. And we would just like be there and be like, what is that? What's going on? What is he doing? And it was just unbelievable to see such a talent at that age. And we just couldn't believe it, how good he was and how developed he was already. Because a lot of people, as you see now, like his quads are just like, it's like if you're looking at a 26, 27-year-old who's played so many games, Jude. I think personally, from what I've seen, especially that season that he had at Birmingham, he's definitely future England captain. And in my opinion, he's definitely going to be a Ballon d'Or winner.
And how good would our squad be if we'd still got him? Yeah, exactly. And what a shame that we have to sell one of the best things that's come through our club, probably since Trevor Francis.
Yeah, it's difficult though, because he probably also he's ambitious. That move, because you got to think about all the clubs that were coming after him. You're talking about pretty much all the top.
I think the Avon ladies call him.
There he is.
All the
Are you
top
back,
4,
Avon
top
lady?
5.
So,
Yeah.
Max,
With-
we're talking
with-
about Job as well. So is this what I guess your brother may well have played with Job in the England setup as he's worked his way through. But what's your story? Go on, we're all intrigued now.
Well, with Job, no, I won't say it. He's still at the club, so we'll keep it. I don't want.
Come on.
Okay, here's the deal, Jack. Right? Okay, will you tell us off air?
He's if he ends up moving up from the club and I come back on the podcast, I'm more than happy to say it. But it is a good story, but we'll keep it for another time.
Jack, don't you think that with Jude, because he's moved up a level, I mean, from the Championship to the Champions League in the space of in the blinking of an eye, his progress has been accelerated. With the greatest respect, if he played for us for 2 seasons, he wouldn't, he wouldn't have been that much sharper, that much quicker. His passes, he passes to world-class players now, and he gets the ball back, and he makes things happen there. Where if he'd have played for Birmingham for those 2 years, he wouldn't have had that exposure to that sort of level. I mean, he was in the England side a fortnight after he left us. That's a massive leap. But if he hadn't have done that, then his progress probably wouldn't have been as rapid, would it?
No, you're completely right. It definitely wouldn't have helped him. I think his love for the club definitely, as you see him, he comes back, he goes into the changing room, at the training ground. He loves the club. But I think as a player of his quality and what the future holds for him, I think he needed to make that decision in order for him to progress to the next level. And going to Dortmund was probably the best pick of the clubs that he could have gone to because of the game time that he would have had. I think at the time there was Man United, especially knocking on the door. I think he went and met with Sir Alex Ferguson after training one time. He's like, Jude, where are you going? He's like, I'm just going to meet Sir Alex Ferguson. I was like, it's like
Big funny, Jack, but we could do it on here. We don't.
so.
You know, it's funny, Alan, you saying it like that. I've never really thought of it like that, to be honest. But I suppose you're right.
I've watched virtually every game I can get hold of Dortmund. And I watched him Saturday, and he had a very quiet game. They won 3-0.
Yeah.
The week before, they were struggling, and he just took the game over. He just grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and I can't remember now. I think they were a goal down. They won in the end, and he got the winner. You know, and you're thinking, this kid's still 19. He's a Brian Robson. He's a Gascoigne. He's
everything.
All these talents that these people have. He's got the lot.
He's Paul Leeds, Frank Lampard, and Steven Gerrard all rolled into one.
Yeah.
Come on, chuck a few more into the mix. Come on.
He does everything. I think he's going to be our standout player in the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
There's no way he's not starting. Surely, there's no way.
How much, Paul, would you pay for Jude to score the goal that wins the World Cup against Argentina?
I'd probably quite happily just give up everything I've got, Nick. Just to experience that would be incredible, wouldn't it? It really would. I mean, even if anybody scored the winning goal in the World Cup final, obviously it would be phenomenal. But for him to do it would be even more special. But yeah, he's got the world at his feet. He really has. He's going to go. Well, he already has gone all the way in. Ballon d'Or winner.
Quick question: do you go back to St Andrews much, mate?
Sorry, can you repeat that? It just cut off.
Do you go back to St Andrews much?
I haven't been back. I've not been back. I'm planning to come back and watch a home game. Hopefully very soon.
Let us know when you do, mate. We'll all meet up. We can have a beer.
100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and Nick's paying.
When you walk in through reception at St Andrews, Paul Hipkiss is the man that supplies the carpets that you wipe your feet on, mate.
Since that's got in now, in about 6 weeks, we've only lost one game.
Yeah, it's the lucky omen.
The other thing is, Jack.
I reckon
The other thing is, Jack, don't plan on going there on a Saturday because we don't play on a Saturday.
No, we don't. That's right. That's right, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. Friday nights, but
not being horrible though, guys. I'm glad we don't play on a Saturday because I work on a Saturday. That means I can go to more games. So.
Can I ask a question? Do you think we play better at home or away?
Away.
Honestly, think, Max, I think we're
probably the reason. Sorry, Mark, crack on.
Go on.
No, I was just saying to Max away, I'd say.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think probably the reason for that is the fans are more up for it away, aren't they? They're like up for the day. It's a day out. It's like, we're going to get legless. We're going to fall over and be drunk and be stupid and one thing and another.
I think that the stadium plays a big part to obviously say like the atmosphere at home, because one thing probably maybe fans don't realize is how taxing the ground at home is. It literally is rock solid. Like the grass might look perfect. Like you might think the grass is perfect, but the ground underneath, it's so hard. 2-3 games after, your joints, your back. I don't know if it's still the same, if they've changed anything, but playing at home sometimes, it was just so taxing on your body because the ground underneath was just so hard.
Did you ever mention that to anybody?
Yeah, we did. We complained so many times. By Christmas, like you're complaining about your knee, your back, your hip, your groin, just because the ground was just so hard. Like we always complained about, and we always wanted them to fix the pitch, because he looks lovely on top. But
it looks lovely. Look, the groundsmen do a brilliant job there. A super job, without doubt they do. But like, if that's a problem to the players, that's an easy fix, surely, isn't it? Huh?
It's a lot
End
of
of the
money.
season, rip it up, lay a new one.
It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money to get that fixed.
Hang on, how much is a bag of grass seeds, for goodness sake?
But it's not.
It costs about £100,000 to relay a pitch.
Maybe while they're sorting out under the cop and Tilton, they can sort out under the pitch at the same time. Then.
Yeah.
I can remember when Coventry was sharing the ground, and it got bare. The ground did, and the hardness of the ground showed up then, because sort of January, February, March, after it had dried out, the ball was bouncing everywhere, and it was very difficult, to put on a decent performance, because you couldn't pass the ball from one to the other because it was bouncing all over the place, and it was getting twice the wear that it would have had normally. But yeah, I'm glad you told me that, because that explains an awful lot. You think, well, I can't string two passes together here, but it was visible when Coventry were there that the ground was wearing badly, and good football wasn't going to be a possibility during that period. It's improved a bit since they've cleared off, and we've played better football since they've cleared off, to be fair.
Yeah, right. We've got minutes anyway, and so much to do in 40 minutes. So before we move on to I'd like to move on to your team in a minute, Mags. You're 1 to 11 Blues players you played with 5 years with us. But before you do, any quick sort of funny? Who was the sort of funniest player you played with? Any good stories or pranks you can tell us?
Funniest, I'll probably say Josh McEachran.
And now I'm going to say Joe Bellingham. You got something up your sleeve, mate. And I know.
I'll probably say Josh was a character. David Davis was a character. I'll probably say
Robbo.
Not so much. I think by the time I came into Birmingham, Robbo was like, he was kind of like on the verge of going on the other side on the coaching. So I think he kind of left all these antics behind a little bit, but you can still see it on a decent night out. He's definitely, you can see his character and how he probably was when he was probably younger. But yeah, I'll probably say the two definitely would be Ryan Shotton. Ryan Shotton, he was
yeah.
Remember when he dyed his hair blue when we played against them?
Yeah, he was
there. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Clayton Donaldson, he was a funny
Donaldson, yeah. Any good stories you can tell us? Any funny pranks or anything that you used to play on each other, or anything you can tell us about?
No.
That sounds like there is, but you're not going to tell us.
You can't tell us, yeah.
No, you've been taken off air, yeah?
Yeah, not yet. I think it's too early. I think some kids are still awake at the moment.
No, I think Mark's.
Jack, how many local derbies did you play in? You know what I mean by a local derby. We don't, and we're not allowed to say the word. You get fined 10 quid if you say the word, right?
Okay.
How many local derbies did you play in?
Okay. I think I played 3.
Mm-hmm. What do you reckon, to?
Yeah.
Not great. We didn't turn up on 2 occasions. Especially away, we didn't. I think they had more quality than they had. I wouldn't say they had better players, but I just think they were well run and well organized. And then it's hard to say, because I don't want to make them sound like they whatever. But it is hard to admit that they were the better team.
Yeah. Who was their manager when you played against them?
They were the better team.
Was it Sherwood?
What did you say, Alan?
I said, who was the manager of Villa when you played against them?
The gaffer.
Is it Steve Bruce?
No.
It could have been sure.
I think it was Sherwood, because we played him in the cup, didn't we? The League Cup game, and we I know Sherwood was in charge
for that.
Yeah.
And wasn't it Dean Smith as well?
Yeah, Dean Smith. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Dean Smith.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to your team, Max. So.
Paul, sorry. Can I really just? This is a very, very quick one, because we do need marks. Mark.
Oh yeah, marks. So what we've done, Mags, is we set Mark a challenge now every week.
Okay.
Since he had his opinion on Hannibal the other week. So
which was ludicrous.
Got a feature in the show called Marks on Hannibal. So it's called Marks on Hannibal.
What have you just put on the? Oh my God.
So Mark, what is Mark this week on Hannibal?
Well, the lad's improving. I'll give him that. He's listening to the advice we've given him. So this week, I'm going to give the lad a generous 7.8. We were all a 7.8 on Saturday, I think. But
that's the only piece of paper you got, and it was 7.8.
And a new temporary feature is Magsy's Marks on Hannibal. So what are you giving Hannibal out of 10 on the performance Saturday, Max?
On Saturday, I gave him, I think, a 7. Okay, I gave him a 7.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot for him to improve on. I think he's definitely a talent. But I think there is a lot. He's one of my favorite players, like one of my favorite players now to watch.
Yeah.
In the Blues team. But I do think he has a lot to learn, and he's only young, so hopefully, like you said, he can take the advice, Mark, and keep it.
Do we think Scott Hogan could be the third player for over the last 30 years to score over 20 goals in a season for us?
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
Yeah.
What do you think, Max?
Wouldn't that be good?
I think he can. I say that he's probably one of the most clinical finishers that in the championship. By the way, I'll put it there. I think he's very good in front of goal. He may need 3-4 chances before he scores, but he still is good in front of goal. He's already got 8. So, and we're only in November. He's got 8 goals. So you'd like to think in the next 3 months he can get 12 goals, or in the next 6 months, I'd say he can get 12 goals. I think it's more than possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably say he can get 20 goals, 100%. Yeah.
There's only Steve
service, of course.
There's only Steve Claridge and Shay Adams that have done it for us in the last 30 years.
How good was Shay, by the way?
Oh, awesome! That season when Gary Monk came.
Yeah.
His high scoring season prior to Monk's season was 7.
7, yeah.
And then Gary Monk comes in with James Beattie. And do you think a lot of that was down to James Beattie as well, Max? Why he turned into such a prolific forward?
I think he just clicked. Like I said, like the difference a manager can make for you. Like I think he definitely relished under Gary Monk, and he I think the only 2 players to play every single game in that season was him and Juki.
Yeah.
Every single game and every single minute, I think they played every single game and every single minute. They didn't get taken off or they didn't get subbed. They played every single game and every single minute, and that made such a huge difference for Shay. Just having that someone give him that confidence to play week in, week out, and some of the goals he scored. Wow, like so good.
The hat trick. The hat trick. Was it a hat trick he scored at QPR away? Yeah.
First did you play in that?
Yeah.
You did.
It was head in a moment. The second half, they literally came out and absolutely battered us, and Lee Camp saved us.
In the middle of our goal, Lee Camp.
Yeah.
Max, did you see the big cardboard cutout of him in the main stand?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You know what? It's only Birmingham City that can do that sort of stuff. I promise you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Max, hit us with your team. Your all-time. Well, you're from the 5 years you was with us.
Yeah.
What's your picks of the sort of best players you played with them?
I'm kind of nervous saying this because I don't know. Most of you guys probably want to agree with me.
To be honest, Mags, when it goes on Twitter, it's mainly players that roast you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's why I'm nervous. I've had to cut out some friends, and they're definitely not going to be happy.
Controversial.
We love this. We love it.
So in goal, like I said to Paul when I spoke to him, in goal I'll go with Thomas Kuszczak.
Thomas Kuszczak, was he a friend?
Yeah, we did have some good chats. But he, at the time, I think the time that I played, he was our best goalkeeper.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, again, left back.
Oh, he's frozen.
There was a few.
Oh no! You back with us? Okay, cool.
Sorry, we missed that. We missed about 2 seconds of that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, sorry.
Crack on.
Yeah, like I said, I think at left back, 100%. I had to change it. I went for Christian Pedersen. It was a toss-up between him and Jonathan Grounds at left back. Grounds is definitely not going to be happy with me. Left side centre back. This was another one where I really struggled on as well, because I had Ryan Shotton.
Hello, who's that guy?
That's Jonathan Grounds.
Yes, so that was Groundsy. Groundsy just popped in.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think it's the owners of Birmingham City Football Club. We're finally going to find out who they are.
It was Dong, wasn't it?
It was really hard, like, picking this, because I played with some really good players there. Obviously, Robbo, Paul Robinson, that is, Ryan Shotton played there. But I've decided to go with Harley Dean as left-sided centre-back.
Yeah.
Alongside Michael Morrison, who I thought he was my first, well, he was like the first captain that I played under, and he was so good.
Quality for us, yeah, really good.
Yeah, he was good. He was good, especially with the time that Gary Rowett was there. He was playing his best football.
Yeah.
And then right back, I think I know they had Paul Caddis, Jonathan Spector there, but I've gone for Maxime Collin.
Yeah.
Right back. I think even now, like, Max just gives you a 7 out of 10 every week. He hardly lets you down, Max. He doesn't do anything unbelievable, but he never gives you less than a 5 or a 6. I think he's always above average, like, you know, 7. That's why I've put him there. In midfield, it was another tough one, because, you know, but I'll go with David Davis, the Destroyer.
Digger.
Yeah, Digger, the Destroyer. I really enjoyed playing with him, and the reason why I say that is because we had a lot of tough times, and if you wanted someone with you in those tough times, you'd want Digger with you, because he was just a warrior. You know, anything, like, you needed anything, like, and he was there. He was that guy. So yeah, I'll put Digger in there, and alongside him, I'm gonna go for Keith Bell. I'm gonna keep Keith in there. I thought he was really good in those years as well. Yeah, it was. Obviously, in terms of, I know a lot of people probably say, in terms of, you know, building up and playing football, you know, technically they weren't the greatest. But like I said, I think that the times that I played, we were always battling, you know, fighting for survival. And if you needed any two players in the midfield of you to go and play up and to be horrible and to be up against other players, you know, I'll definitely put Keith and Digger in there any time. And, you know, at left wing, no other than Demarai Gray. I think that's pretty easy. I think everyone would probably agree with me on that one.
Yeah.
Right hand side, it was hard as well, because, you know, you got Hotta, you got Cottrell, you got those two, especially between I'd say Hotta and Cots.
Would you say, sorry, Mags, with Hotta, would you say it was a similar kind of thing to Harley Dean? Obviously, he was so used to playing the way Brentford played, and then he came to us, obviously, and had manager after manager and style after style. And when he was on it, though, he was absolute quality, wasn't he? He really was. That's
exactly what it was. Like, you just said it there, and like, these players, Max is the only one who probably adapted really quickly to how we played. But with Harley and Hotta, that's exactly what it was. They've had to rebrand themselves, and that's why I think they struggled at times. But that's why I said, especially with Harley, that's why I've put him in there, because his character and his, you know, mentally how strong you have to be in order to rebrand yourself. You know, people slating you, going on loan, coming back, and then putting performances as he is. It's so good to see. So with Hotta it's the same, but I am going to stick with Hotta, because I think the games that he was unplayable at times, You
He
know,
was.
there's certain games where he was just unplayable, and seeing him play was really good. And two up front, I struggled with this as well, but I'm gonna go straight in. I'm gonna say Juki and Shea. I think that season when Gary Monk came in, they were literally unplayable, and they were so good for us. They were flying for us. So I'm gonna go for Juki and Shea. I know Clayton's probably gonna message me if he sees this. So is Cots, but listen,
I've already sent the clip to him. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go for Juki and Shea up top. I think they were brilliant that season that Gary Monk came in, and Shea got his move from that season as well. Juki's still going strong now. I think he's the only player after 8 minutes. He looks like you could probably take him off because he looks finished. But he's such a warrior. Such a professional as well. And it's just so good to see some of these players still playing.
Yeah, and captain and manager, Max?
Captain Michael Morrison, captain, and manager be Gary Rowett.
Yeah, good.
I would have said me, but I'm not a manager yet.
I wished it hadn't all gone wrong, but it did. And you know what? You've got to move on. It's football. Football's a very strange, fickle, funny business. Like, as a kid, I was 14. Doing my paper and turned the sun over. Trevor Francis had just been sold. I sat down on the curb and cried. Cried.
Why did he owe you some money?
Anyway, the next part of the
Chris,
show.
don't wreck my emotions.
Set you a little challenge now, Max, for a bit of fun. So what we do now is we have a part of the show when we have a special guest on and an ex-player called Who. So like when they make a sub, the opposition and our crowd go Who.
Who are
part of the show. So what we do is basically we're going to play 15 seconds, and all I'm going to say is it's a player that's been in the same squad as yourself over the 5 years. I'll give you more of a clue. It was during the 2015-16 season.
Oh, can you say it like this? I'll give you more of a clue.
Was with us for a short space of time. So I want to see if you can guess who this is just by listening to him talking for 15 seconds.
Can I just say, I think this is really, really hard. But here we go. Stand by your beds.
You know who it is, Max? Just tell us the first letter of his surname, and then we'll give our viewers the chance to have a go as well.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, great. Obviously, just a few training sessions with the lads before the game at Derby, so it was a good one to settle into. A big result, and hopefully we can kick on from that as well.
And you got obviously onto the pitch to make your debut, and like you mentioned there, not a bad situation to make it in.
Yeah, it was a great game to come on really, just to hopefully settle me in straight away and hopefully get some minutes under my belt now.
Max is smiling. He's smiling.
He knows, doesn't he?
No clue. No clue. I wouldn't have got that.
You want it again, Max? You want to go again?
Come on, then. Here we go.
Play it again for me, please.
Yeah, great. Obviously, just a few training sessions with the lads before the game at Derby, so it was a good one to settle into. A big result, and hopefully we can kick on from that as well.
And you got obviously onto the pitch to make your debut, and like you mentioned there, not a bad situation to make it in.
Yeah, it was a great game to come on really, just to hopefully settle me in straight away and hopefully get some minutes under my belt now.
Difficult.
So he came on loan during the season that we had the diagonal stripe going down the shirt, if you remember. That was the season you signed, wasn't it? Is that right?
That is the season I signed, yeah. I'm trying to think really hard.
Literally only played about 5 games for us, and he was on loan for a short space of time. And it might have been.
I definitely didn't speak to him though.
He joined on loan the same season as you signed. Now, I will back myself up by saying he might have been and gone before you actually signed.
Probably.
But yeah, anyone want to have a go? Yeah, Dave Twine's got it straight away.
Straight away. How the hell?
That's impressive, that is.
Yeah, I think we need to get a prize out to Dave Twine for that, because that is
that's like lightning. That is.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
send him one of my new Keep Right On mugs.
it was Will Buckley, Mags, who we had on loan for a short period of
Oh
time.
yeah, Will.
You was with him, weren't you? Yeah, in the squad.
Yeah. Like I said, I probably didn't speak to him, mate.
He's been.
Well, he didn't speak to you, so he didn't recognise the voice.
He'll never speak to you again, anyway.
No, he definitely won't.
Craig, are we doing squad game?
We are. So Mags, there's Paul is our font of all knowledge, and he's challenged on many weeks to a game called Squad Game, which we will choose normally it's Birmingham. Going to make a bit of a change this time around, though, for yourself, because we'd like you to see if you can beat Paul. He's only ever been beat by a lady once, and that was because we cheated. But what we got is two squads, and they're two England squads. And basically, we want you to choose how many players you could name from that squad in a 30-second period. And then Paul will get the second squad for the same period of time. The idea is we finally beat him for real. So,
and believe me, Mags, he is the resident savant. So be careful.
He's good.
So, Chris, have you got a coin so that we can toss up who's going to go first?
Chris has got no money, for crying out loud. The bloke's poor.
No, he's always got shrapnel.
I'm always tossing a coin. Heads or tails?
Go on, Mags. Heads or tails?
Always heads.
No, Mags, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
Mags, I'm sorry, mate. That was never a word in your vocabulary when you played football.
Oh, your squad. England, 1998 for the World Cup in France.
Okay.
Go.
David Seaman, Darren Anderton, Gary Neville, Gareth Southgate, Tony Adams, Graham Lasso, David Batty, Paul Ince, David Beckham, Michael Owen, Teddy Sheringham, Les Ferdinand, Steve McManaman, Robert Lee, Paul Scholes, Alan Shearer, Paul Merson.
I'm surprised, Paul. I'm surprised you didn't recognise the groundsman, the tea lady, all the bastards.
Paul,
I'm just gonna forfeit now, Paul. You can take that, mate.
That was seriously some going.
How much did he get?
That was 15.
Oh no! Really?
I think that might actually be the new record in terms of that. That is some going.
So all you've got to do, Max, is get 16.
Easy.
And Mags, you decided to go second.
Yeah, I think that was the wrong decision there. But
he's off the scale. I love it.
Well, your squad, Mags.
Information, Mags, that don't get me anywhere. Information.
So your squad,
I
Mags.
didn't even get Will Buckley. I don't know how I'm going to get this.
Oh, you'll be fine. It's England 2004 when we played out in Portugal.
How old was you then, Mags?
You're trying to kill me, aren't you?
You're like 17, aren't you?
You're about 17.
Can't you give me a recent one at least?
No, because then you might beat him.
Yeah, England for the World Cup finals this year.
Right.
2.
I'll probably
Not
get
being funny. You tossed your coin. You made your choice. Come on.
What was Paul's one? 90 what?
98. You got
98 for Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have done worse on that, to be honest.
And that was his total.
All right,
Did you get the bus driver as well?
Oh, yeah. And the groundsman. Yeah, I'll have a go. Let's go.
Come on, man. Come on.
Get set. Go.
Rio Ferdinand, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lamb, Paul Scholes, Michael Owen, I'll say Emil Heskey.
Forward, big forward.
Beckham, big forward, Crouchy.
That was 6.
Not bad.
Not bad. You goalkeeper wise, it was actually one I'd totally forgotten actually for this competition, but was David James in goal.
Who?
David James.
David James.
Oh, David James, blimey.
You could have had Gary Neville, Ashley Cole, John Terry. You also could have had Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, Wayne Bridge.
Said Owen Craig.
Oh, sorry, yes, I've got Owen, that's right. Phil Neville as well. Jamie Carragher, I didn't realise was still playing.
Let's not worry about it. Don't worry about it. Right, we are into the last 15 minutes of the show, actually 10 minutes of the show. Chris Brown, what have you got for us tonight?
Okay, so it's the last 15 is footballers and superheroes. Anything to do with football and
superheroes. Football and superheroes. How do I right? Nick's ball. Nick's ball.
Could you have David James Bond?
David James Bond.
Was he
superhero? Come on.
It's a start. Well, he was I don't know. All right.
Tell you what, the picture put ask. Some sort of perm.
So I've had Lee Clark Kent come through.
Yeah.
Lindsay, this doesn't count, but I'll say it anyhow. She said Lee Camp because he's just like Thor.
She loves him.
You've done half. So Mags,
I don't watch superhero programs.
What manager in your career would you have loved to play for? Didn't play for, and why?
I think I played for enough, to be honest. No, if there is any, if I had the chance of working under any manager, would definitely be probably one at Liverpool and one at Man City.
Yeah,
I think those two will definitely be top two at the moment. Yeah, so I'll say no.
Sorry, we got Dilly on about Mo.
I missed that one. Oh yeah, Dilly.
Robin van Persie. Oh dear me. Oh God.
Actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. I was going to ask. I was just quickly ask Mags. Were you one for keeping sort of memorabilia from Blues?
Sorry, but when they come through, they do make me laugh. Are you ready for this?
That's all right.
Spider-Man City. Spider-Man City.
That's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wasn't that funny? Wasn't worth waiting for.
Well, what was you going to ask?
Sorry, I was going to ask Mags, what sort of mementos have you kept from your days of Blues? Have you got like a shirt there? Have you got?
I've got loads.
Behind you as well?
I've got so many that I need to get frames for. There's just so many ones I collected. I wasn't one for collecting other players' shirt.
Your own.
Yeah.
Wet, to be perfectly honest with you, don't they, Jack?
Well, then,
what you saying? I said they normally stink of sweat, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, they're not washed. I haven't washed none of them.
There's the same. I tend not to wash my shirts.
Yeah, there's a few that were brand new ones I'll probably give away, but the ones that I wore are match worn shirts, or if I played against a friend, people that I knew, I'll take their shirts. But I wasn't one to collect. The only shirt that I've got of who's probably big superstar is Cristiano Ronaldo's one.
Cheapest gift, mate. You go for 2 a penny round here, kid.
Yours would be far more.
I had the pleasure to meet him when I was at Sheffield Wednesday. One of his best friend, Samido, took us to a game when he was at Real Madrid, and they played Man United in the Champions League. And we ended up going to watch him, and I ended up meeting him. He's actually a good lad.
Nice guy. Yeah. Does a hell of a lot for charity as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very good.
I don't know if anyone will ever reach the levels that him and Messi have reached. Do you? Obviously people say Maradona and
no chance.
Paul.
Too late.
Paul.
What? Maradona.
Madonna.
Yeah, it's too late for people to start, trying to reach their level. I think they started so young, and by the time people realised, the gap was already too big. So it's hard to get to reduce that gap. Like I think someone said on Sky Sports, it was like if Haaland wants to, beat the record or even tie, he has to score like 60 goals for the rest of the season until he's 37.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so just think about that. So it's just like the gap is just too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a few more. Gambit friend, I don't get that one. Paul Penguin, Peter Gary Parker, Martin O'Connor, i.e. Captain Marble, Wayne Clark Kent.
I think you've missed a couple as well, Nick, because Flashley Cole was mentioned.
That's a good one.
Mr. Fixer, can you work on Paul Plisky's holiday for us? Storm John.
Careful, Nick. Cut it up. For God's sake, man.
See if we can get Pesky on the show. And there was another name earlier that was mentioned.
Madonna, wasn't it? Is it Madonna?
Madonna.
Might have been Madonna.
Right. Oh, what's that bloke's name? Oh God, what's his name? No. Ron.
Was he in the jungle?
Ron something. Aldo. I don't know. I'm sure he's got him on tight and talk to us.
Actually, Matt,
Chris, can I just shout out on the charity event? Because
yes, you must do. Yeah.
We're going to launch our festive charity events after the show today. So watch out for the poster showing some truly fantastic prizes for this time around. So we have signed memorabilia in a shirt from this season, signed by the squad. We also have kindly donated back to us the shirt for the season when Jude played his last games for the club. So we have that fully signed, and Jude's signature is on there. We have a signed book from our friend who was on last week, in Chris Scudder. We have 4 tickets.
That was brilliant last week, wasn't it? Great.
Yeah, it was Chris.
We have 4 tickets for our game on the 2nd of January. And our prize, and thank you to our very own club for this, we have 2 half-season tickets that will be donated by the club. So that will take in 12 games from January. So some really good prizes, and watch out for some details. We are supporting Cancer Research UK, and one that's very close to all of us in mind. So it helps out not only with those areas, but we've got plenty of money that we can then take forwards to help those great charities out. So watch out for details.
Brilliant.
And also thank you to Jack McGomer for donating his house.
And all his shirts as well. Even though they smell, we'll still have them.
Could I give one
right,
a few
2 minutes
shirts?
left. Sorry, 2 minutes left.
Hang on,
Hang on, Nick, hang on.
Calm sorry, down. I'm a little bit dead, Chris. Sorry, mate.
Mags, carry on.
No, I'm saying, if I could donate anything, guys, if I could give away some signed shirts, it would be my pleasure.
Oh, brilliant!
If you guys can send me, if you can send me a link, if you can send me a link to the charity and whatnot,
I'll just give you my email address, my personal home address, and
It's really kind of you, that is, Mags. That's fantastic.
That's brilliant.
Brilliant. Craig or Paul will get in touch with you.
Sorry, Mags, I really am. I do have serious hearing problems. I'm sorry, mate, but that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? But this has been the talk show. It's Monday night, 6:30 through till 8 o'clock at night, ladies. 1 minute, Birmingham City versus Swansea. Off you go.
Yeah, I'll go for a 2-0 Blues.
Oh, thanks, Chris. 2-0.
I'll go 2-1.
Craig?
I fancy us for 2-0 as well.
Mark?
I'm going to go same as Saturday, 2-1.
Jack?
2-1.
Chairman?
I think it's time we scored a few at home. I'm going 3.
Okay, Chris, you.
I've just said
6-0.
Cheers.
Have you still got your bucket under your chair, Justin?
No.
Oh, right. Have you sorted the problem out?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I've got a little drip feed that goes right down my and I wear these big wellies.
best wishes to Tony Hemmings, obviously the husband of the lovely Tracy Hemmings, one of our tenor ladies. He's been proper poorly for weeks upon end. Still not right. Hopefully he's going to get that drain taken out of his lung very shortly. And Tony, I promise you, mate, we all look forward to seeing you back at St Andrews so soon. Jacques, Tony is a very poorly man. He's been really poorly. Give him a message for us, kid.
Paul, just want to say, everyone's thinking about you. You're not alone. You keep going, to keep being positive. I'm sure there's people out within your circle that care a lot about you, and that will definitely look after you. So don't ever feel like you're on this road by yourself. We are thinking about you, as we're mentioning you right now on this podcast. So all I can say is to keep going and to keep fighting and to keep one step at a time, and I'm sure everything will be fine in the future.
Bless you, Jack. Thank you very much. You're a religious man, Jack?
Yes, I am.
Pray for that man, please.
Yeah, I will do.
Bless you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, what a night. Jacques Magoma, a legend who will never be forgotten, not by any of us, not ever, ever, ever. Working down at Tottenham now. I'm disgraced to see that Tottenham sign behind you and you've not had a Birmingham City one there. I'm not being funny, mate. You could have changed it just for the night. You could have changed it for the night, Jack. I'll tell you what, you're never coming on the show again. Jack, I tell you what, you've scored some crackers. You've played in some Boston games. We've loved you down at St Andrews. I promise you that, and I'm sure the team will reiterate that. From Alan Watton, from Mark Adams, from Paul Hipkiss, from myself, from the Mr. Fixer, Craig Courtney, and Chris Brown. Good night, God bless, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, if you are religious, please pray for Tony Hemmings. Good night. God bless. This has been the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Paul Sports, principal sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club, and we will be back here 6:30.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. You've been listening to your Tilton Talk.
Let's have 6 points by the time we come back here again. Ta-ra.
Last show before the podcast, guys.
We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following